Hey, I'm Lyndall Woodruff, and welcome to the Clarity Changes Everything podcast. People are like, wait, you sell windows and you're doing a podcast? Yes, I am, because clarity changes everything, not just in your house with your windows, but in a chaotic culture, when you find clarity, your whole life changes. So I wanted to bring on some cool people. Let's talk to them. Grab some coffee. Let's do this. Hey, welcome back to Clarity Changes Everything podcast. I got the one and only Rashad Jennings. What's up, man?
What's happening, man? How you doing today?
Blessed beyond measure. How about you? You got a lot going on, man.
I'm good. Nothing to complain about. Working. I'm busy. I like to be busy. Working on the house. I just got back in from South by Southwest. Got two kids under three. Family. All kind of things going on right now in my life. Football, commentating, Dance with the Stars. Got me doing some other stuff. Writing another book and create a podcast. You know what? I'm trying to think of stuff I ain't doing at this point.
The list is very short, huh?
Yeah, it's getting
Yeah.
shorter.
You say you got two kids under three.
Yes, sir. So I got a 2 and 10 and 10 months.
Wow.
Two
Yeah,
boys, two boys.
two boys. I got a little
Yeah.
girl. She's 3.5. It's a different, 3.5's a different world than two. Two was smooth sailing. It's 3.5's a little challenging.
Yeah, they started to figure out a little bit.
Yes, trying to instill some clarity in that little baby girl for sure, because she's all over the place.
There you
Well, hey
go.
man, thanks for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. You've had one heck of an outstanding life, career. You're doing a lot of really cool things. Uh, just let's talk a little bit about your background, how it all started, and what kind of got you in the realm that you're doing right now.
Yeah, I
Motivational
mean,
speaking, inspirational speaking. You're doing lots of cool stuff.
yes, sir. My background, I'm from Virginia, a little small town. Forest, Virginia, self-explanatory. Tell people that all the time. I grew up understanding animals before people. Still trying to figure out people, man. I went to schools, double major psychology, sociology, with a desire to become a pre-merit emeritus counselor. I got my honorary doctorate degree in humanities. Um, that's my education side, even though despite starting off in high school with a point 0.6 GPA and fifth string running back, I've been able to accomplish some things in the academia. So I then played in the NFL for 8 years, four with the Jaguars, one for the Raiders, three for the Giants. Then was invited on Dancing with the Stars, somehow twinkled my toes into America's Heart and won.
Yeah, was that 2017 or 2018?
That was actually 17,
2017. Okay.
2017. Yes, sir. Season
Yeah.
24.
Season
Um,
20.
and yeah, man, I got the mirror ball trophy in here somewhere. Um, and then from there, man, I started writing, became a New York Times bestseller, got into TV, acting, hosting, commentating, finding my way in that entertainment sector. Had fun with doing Good Morning Football in the NFL Network last year, and this year, I'm kind of a open vessel to see what kind of opportunities land for this upcoming football season. But yeah, given my perspective on the game I love so much, it's something that I'm not bad at it. I'll say that.
Yeah. You think there were going to be some more playing for you? Is that what you're talking about?
No, 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 commentating, all
Oh,
commentating.
commentating. I was about to
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
well, that's a twist.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
No, no,
that's
no,
cool,
no,
man.
no, no, not coming out of retirement. I'm done.
Okay, all right. Are you currently? What's the show that you're commentating on right now? Isn't it on the NFL Network that you do?
Yeah, it's called Good Morning Football.
Hmm.
ESPN is buying out the NFL Network, so we'll see the chemistry test they run with people and who they like at what spot. But I'm hopeful to continue to work with them
Awesome. When's that going down? ESPN buying NFL.
as we speak. Should
Oh, really?
effectively go through the 1st of April. No April Fool's jokes. ESPN is buying out the
Really?
NFL Network. Yeah,
Wow. That's a big deal, man.
yes,
That's a
sir.
big deal. That's something cool to be a part of. That's no telling what all is going to come from that for you.
Right. You never do, man. Like I
Yeah.
said, the biggest deal with that getting in that space is chemistry tests and who they like you pair with, and how you want to present the material is a big deal. And Good Morning Football is more lax, more everyday perspectives. It's not about always the X's and O's. They like to be entertained a little bit more. So I fit.
Yeah. You know my buddy Isaiah Standback?
Yeah, I know him.
You know
I know him
Isaiah?
quite well.
Yeah. He's a good dude, man.
He is.
Is
How
he
you
still
know
doing his
him?
podcast? I met him at a home show, actually. I had a
Okay.
booth at a home show talking about Windows, and
Okay.
he stopped by the booth. That's how I met him, and we ended up. I worked out of a studio in Dallas. I was doing some producing back in the day, and he was doing at the time his podcast out of the same studio that I was working out of.
No
Whenever I met him,
kidding. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm gonna shoot him a text, man. That's funny. Small world.
yeah,
Yeah, but now I
yeah,
worked with
small
him
world.
several different times.
Yeah, he's a good guy, man. He's really good at what he does too. He's really
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's awesome. So, what a couple specific things I wanted to ask you because in a life that someone has, such as yourself, right? In the media, in the spotlight, all the pressures that go along with all these things, I can imagine things can start to get chaotic, or they've been chaotic in the past. This podcast is really all about clarity and finding clarity in what matters. So I would love to hear your perspective on things that pull you in times of chaos or anything that may be chaotic in your world or distractions or anything like that. What are some of the tools that you use as someone that lives very deeply in that realm to remain clear on what matters and focused? Is there specific principles that guide you? How do you do it?
Yeah, clarity. I get my clarity usually by focusing on what matters the most. And there's a trickle down effect as a funnel. And ultimately, it begins and ends with my relationship with God. I get my clarity through recognizing the situation that I'm in. How does it affect my eternity? How does it affect the kingdom? How does it affect my family? How does it affect my last name? And then eventually, somewhere in the long line, I get to me. I realize that I am a piece of a puzzle, and that the puzzle is way more important than me. Um, I feel that there isn't as much, and I'm not saying that anybody else should feel this way. It's just how I am. I don't think anything is special about me. I just think I'm in a special position in life, and I get to be a magnifying glass towards things I think are important. And I'm reminded of that awesome responsibility. So like my clarity comes through stepping back from the situation, getting alone time. I'm like a wolf. I need to be alone for a little bit, really. That's where I get my fuel from. I'm an extrovert, introvert for sure. I love people all day long, but I refuel being by myself, and so that's just where I get my clarity from. Truly, just sitting back and analyzing the situation, and everything's dependent, right? Some things require more intention than others, but all things being equal, if it's a new job or if it's transition or whatever it may be, that's more of a serious thing. I get my clarity by sitting back, going to the bigger picture, and how does this affect the kingdom?
Yeah. Has that been your mode of operation your whole life? Were you always on that path and direction, or was there any time that you were swayed the other way at any point in time, or have you just been on this path with God your whole life and solely committed to that?
Yeah, since I said about the age of 16, 17, somewhere in there, I really turned over a whole new leaf on commitment and like level to a focus that it causes that is required to be successful. And I never turned away from it. So if you would have interviewed me when I was 15, 16, I gave you a different answer. But anytime after 17 years old, I'm gonna give you the same thing. And it's just repeated efforts and habits that create. We create our habits, and then our habits create us. And I was at a younger age. I was I was able to create some really good, healthy habits, and in which I don't take the credit for. Like I have a family and people that love me before I knew who I was, that point me in the right direction. So I'm kind of a product of my family and environment that I was able to be
That's a
raised
blessing.
in,
Yeah.
and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's a blessing. Do you speak whenever you do speaking engagements? Where do you normally do those? Are you working with underprivileged kids? Do you speak with teens? Mentorship programs? What drives you in that sector?
All things, all things. I don't think I don't think truth is segregated to any particular culture, creed, religion, or nothing. I don't, and so I very rarely say no when it comes to speaking to kids, and it doesn't matter what their wealth, their color, their skin, or anything, because I know, like I said before, it's the platform that I have that's unique and special. Um, and when I go talk to the kids, I don't charge anything. I don't do none of that. Like I legitimately go to try to make a bigger difference. And if I can affect one child to turn on their light, to take that 180, to save them from a really poor decision,
Hmm.
job complete from that mission. So yes, I do it quite often.
What situation stands out to you the most since you've been doing that with an experience with speaking to kids?
What stands out the most? I think most broken communities that I go into typically have more broken um, marriages, and more healthier communities that I go into typically have more healthier marriages. Um, and I don't think that's a discussion that's talked about enough. All things being equal, right? Like if you live to be 80 years old, let's say you find your mate at 20, somewhere between 20 and 30, that's 50 to 60 years that you're making a decision that will affect you for 50 and 60 years. Now, some people give more time and effort on what they wear for the night than they do a spouse. You are taking those clothes off probably 3 more hours from that night.
Hmm.
The person you choose to spend your life with, that's 50 to 60 years affecting you mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, all of it. But
Hmm.
yet, we don't talk about it. Why? So for me, like I said, I went to school because I have a desire to be a premarital marriage counselor. And I noticed that communities, everyone needs to have better conversations in that department, because we're leaving too much food on the table when it comes to having a good, healthy, wholesome community and neighborhood. And marriage is the biggest component of it. Marriage makes the decisions. How you are with your spouse, whether your spouse and you combine, or I don't want to do anything in the neighborhood. Why? See, y'all making y'all decisions, but if your spouse was adamant, like, we got to do more stuff in our community, maybe you might do more. The person you decide to marry is going to influence your mind for the rest of your life.
For the rest of you, it's a huge deal.
It's crazy. So,
Yeah.
so I'm big on taking that serious.
Is there a specific instance that you recall doing these speaking engagements, talking to kids, that really impacted you when you heard the story, and maybe something you were able to share with that person that helped turn something on for them?
Well, I could give you a laundry list of things, but a lot of
Mm.
kids, I tell them, through my story, that when opportunity presents itself, it's too late to prepare. I do believe that any and everything that somebody desires or wants to do truly will cross their desk at least 3 times in their life. I do. It's just a matter of not were you prepared and ready to take advantage of that moment. You know, if you're looking for a job, if you're looking for a particular kind of job, odds are you ran across somebody that can make the introduction to get you to that job. But you wasn't prepared for that moment when you met them the first time. You didn't even go up to them and ask them their name or what they did. It's like these little things. I really think that life give us these these little tokens that lead us into the next checkpoint in our life. It's just a lot of us were not prepared for that moment because we don't have it on the forefront. It's more of a life that we live or hear about on Instagram, or a life we see in a card or a movie, and it's a good talking point. But what effort are you putting behind the scenes to put yourself in a position to receive some of that quote unquote luck? Luck is earned.
Mm.
And a kid talking about luck. He said, "This kid's lucky. That kid's lucky." Luck is earned. Luck is
Yep,
very earned. You can put yourself in position to earn more of that luck. And let me tell you
absolutely.
how. So
Absolutely.
that's some of the
You've
things we
heard
can
that
do.
acronym, right? Luck, the acronym,
No, sir.
labor
Tell me
under
that.
correct knowledge. You ever heard that before?
Say it one
Luck
more
is
time.
labor under correct knowledge.
Okay, I like that. I
The
like that.
acronym for luck. And I think, the culture, gosh, the culture that we live in, man, is so crazy and fast, and all this information and floods of things just flooding into people's minds and pulling their minds 80,000 different directions. The society that, we all kind of find ourselves in is not putting an emphasis on these things that you're talking about, which is extremely paramount to life. Instead of getting pulled by everything, being in the moment of, with yourself, like your alone time is probably when you have your alone time with God. Talk to God, ask questions, listen, and not be so fast to act. The impulse, I think, the impulse in our society has a lot to do with so many people being scattered and feeling lost and no purpose. Um, it's a very powerful thing. Uh, you said you had a laundry list. Was there one particular person that you talked to that you remember that stood out, that you helped them in some kind of way?
I mean, yeah, I've had a child that hated reading. I wrote a book. I wrote a chronicle kid series is Arcade and the Triple T Token, and there were some kids that struggled reading, just like I did when I was young, and I wrote the book intentionally to give kids something to aspire to read, especially boys. Hey, look, I'm honest, right? So honesty can get you in trouble, and boys don't like reading. Young boys don't like reading, percentage wise, is what it is. Why I don't know. So chips are addictive, potato chips. Why? I could tell you. The amount of carbohydrate, sodium, and fat. They make it addictive to chemically neurons release in your brain, and that's why you can't quote unquote just have one. It's true. So I thought to myself, I wonder how I can make reading addictive for young boys. And I gave it a shot after
Oh,
enough
nice.
enough education on it. And sure enough, I had kids come up after after I spoke, after they joined in the reading challenge that I have still today. You go to RashadJenningsFoundation.com. Um, we've had now over 500,000 books read by kids, and they take the test on it to make sure that they're reading it, that they can answer the questions properly, and if they answer them properly and they pass, they get an opportunity to win autographed books by me and some other gifts by friends and celebrities, etc. And I never forget, a kid came up to me. I went to a school visit twice.
It's one of the most important things, loading the mind up with proper information instead of all the garbage that's out there. And it is garbage. I mean, some of the stuff that, gosh, some of the stuff out there is insane. And you know what is kind of funny too? Um, I told someone the other day that you were going to be on the podcast. They're like, "How did you meet Rashad Jennings?" I said, "Well, I didn't even really meet him. We've been on Zoom one time together, but the way we met is interesting because it's through Instagram, right? And a lot of the stuff, like when I speak, I talk a lot about over consumption of social media and how poisonous and toxic that can be for your mind, and being able to separate yourself from that. So it's pretty cool that a lot of the stuff I talk about and a lot of stuff that you talk about is how we met. So I wanted to touch on that because I thought that was a pretty interesting scenario. We get and I want to make sure I get the story right. But on our Woodruff Windows Instagram, we received a direct message from you. And, there's so many things that come through. We're looking at it in the office. I remember 5 or 6 of us looked at it and we were like, is this even real? Like, this is pretty interesting. And you're like, hey, I got some things going on in my life. We're dealing with this house fire right now. And would love to talk to you guys about doing our Windows stuff. And we were all like, come on, man. So I'm Googling. I go down the rabbit hole on your Instagram feed trying to find proof of there being a fire. Like I'm looking at it going, no way this is real. And sure enough, we're on Zoom 2 days later talking about, figuring out how we can collaborate on helping you get Windows for your home, dealing with this tragedy. So let's talk a little bit about that. How did that happen? How did it come to be that you found us? What inspired you to reach out? Because that's a pretty interesting, cool scenario, I think.
We've renovated our first home completely ourselves. It was a 1,900 square foot home in California in Fallbrook. We gutted it out, Legoed it up back to the walls we wanted. Took all the flooring out, put it down, put the cabinets, built it, had fun. It was really fun. Took about a year to do, because we didn't have to immediately move into it. And upon moving back to Virginia, we was like, hey, we want to do this again on a larger scale because we had too much fun doing it too. Shout out to YouTube University. And when we moved, we started renovating it, and sure enough, we get a phone call one morning that our house was on fire. We're like, I thought somebody was joking. It was a coach at my old high school called me and was like, "Hey, Rashad, you just got a call from the fire department. Your house is on fire." I thought he was joking. I was like, "Yeah, whatever, coach. Hey, how you been?" He's like, "No, seriously. There were like a lot of people outside at your house." I said, "Really? How? Nobody's even in there. Nothing's in there. It's an empty home." We rush over. It's on fire, and sad day, tragic. I mean, smoke everywhere. Half the house is burned apart, and like it was unsalvageable, so we had to total it. And immediately, funny enough, the day before that, we saw this huge rainbow. My wife and I driving down the neighborhood, and we were just reminded of God's promises and going back to what Scripture said. And the very next day, the house catches on fire, and I was just reminded of God's promises and that we are called to be the salt of the world. And salt doesn't burn; it refines. And so, because that fire kind of resonated with me, just being refined as a new position, as a father, as a husband, and all the things coming back to my hometown that I'm getting cleansed from, so to speak. And now we're in a position that we get to build it up. Not only that, we get to take a big excavator to it, which sounds crazy, but that seems so much fun to me. Knocking it down, filming that whole process. Like my kids are going to see, hey, dad, help build the house. Like they get to see the house that they're going to live in actually be constructed right in front of them. And there's so much substance to that. Like and now we get to customize it exactly how we want it, right? Like all these things that are very positive starting to come to the forefront. And so it's peaceful because of that. Now obviously the living situation for us is a little difficult, but God's gonna handle it all, and I'm excited. And now what we've been able to do is reach out to particular companies that we actually want to work with. I'm a type of person, I'm a 7th round draft pick. A 7th round draft pick in the NFL. Unlikely, pretentious kid from a small town, small university, barely made it in the NFL and made a heck of a career. Right. So I'm an underdog guy. I always cheer for the underdogs. Like I always want to see somebody who doesn't have that platform per se excel overnight. Like, so for me, working with companies, I'm always trying to find the companies and people that are just good down to earth individuals, bust they tail just like me, and would love opportunities to collaborate. And I like to see people win. So, that was kind of our mission, as I told my wife, we're going to find those companies that share similar values as us, that are up and coming, that believe in family values, and want to work together and do something unique, great, and something that will be filmed and last a lifetime.
Yeah, I love it. You guys have y'all done homes on TV before, or just as personal projects?
We've done a little bit on TV before, mostly personal projects, and this too because we know. I know Property Brothers team very well. Drew Scott, we actually was on Dance with the Stars together. So that was a conversation with him of potentially doing this through HGTV as well.
Yeah, yeah, I remember you telling me that. That's really cool. And one thing that stuck out that you shared with me is, I think maybe it was a week. A week. You guys were supposed to be moving your stuff into the house, just like a week after the fire, right?
Yeah, yeah, we were gonna eventually, yeah, because we were setting it up for a rental property, and we was gonna put our stuff in there, and sure enough, the house literally catches on fire
Yeah,
before any of that happened.
the timing is bizarre. And didn't you say a friend of yours that's local to Dallas is who recommended us?
Yeah, yep, yep. Friend of mine,
What a small world, man.
super
Because
small.
that's really the whole. I shared this with you on Zoom, but the whole founding principle of Woodruff Windows is do great work, be honest, give fair prices, and exceed in value. Right, like go above and beyond. Because it was kind of built from my dad through my grandfather. My grandfather was a commercial contractor, and that's what he was known for, doing the right thing, integrity, and keeping the customer first, and all of those things. So it just kind of passed from my granddad to my dad, over to me. I guess whenever I saw the opportunity in windows in the area that we live in, of course, I wanted to take what my dad was doing and continue that same legacy, and really with a mission of becoming the number one most trusted window replacement company in the area. And that's what we've become. And the story is told really well online by our customers are amazing. They love sharing their experience about working with us, and it's just really neat how dots get connected when we are doing the right thing. That's the preparedness thing, though, right? Like, be prepared, show up, have faith, take action, and things line up. Now, I mean, it's not going to be, it's life, so you're going to get all kinds of curveballs. But one thing I've learned that I think you touch on a lot, one thing I've learned throughout my life, the more we stay in line and committed to purpose and those principles, and we go through fires, but they seem to be a lot shorter. They seem to be a lot more short-lived than finding problems when you're living chaotically. Because I've been on both sides of the fence. Both sides of the fence. Dramatically. My story is very, very colorful. I wish that I would have had the same head on my shoulders that you had at your age, at 16, 17, whenever you started to go that direction, because I sure didn't. I was lost for a really long time. Really long time. And
Uh,
it's taken multiple experiences, and loss and trauma and just all kinds of things, to wake me up. To wake me up. That's the whole concept of the podcast. There was something that happened fairly recently, a year ago, that just an event occurred and it changed everything. And, being a dad for the first time with a 3.5-year-old little girl, like, bro, you better get it together. You've got to. Because they sure do mimic, right? They mimic what's going on. So it's neat to just be here with the opportunity to talk with you and understand your guiding principles. Because I'm a student, I thought I had it figured out for a really long time, man. Just so much ego steering the ship, and the process of turning it all over, man, has it's changed everything. So to connect at the moment that we connected, and to be able to have some of these conversations with you is very astounding. And to me, it's just further proof of stay connected, do the next right thing, show up, and be good. You know what I mean? Like, everything else is for the birds, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything we're sold in the
It's
culture.
always it's the little things, man. Life has its ebbs and flows, but it's the little things that keeps us grounded. It really is. There's no big secret, right? Like, everybody knows what's good. Everybody knows what's evil. And if they're being honest, they could tell you if they're in the good or in the evil. And, we all know that if we put our hand to the fire, we all burn. And so there's certain fires we need to stay away from. And we all could fall short to them. Nobody's getting out of this thing unscathed. And so we stack good decisions upon good decisions. Like, and that's the art of it, truly. And I am very fortunate that when I was younger, I took it upon myself just to kind of prove my father wrong, just making one decision that I never was going to drink alcohol. Like, and 40 years of my life, I've never touched alcohol in my life, never smoked, nothing.
Wow.
And I think it was just like small decisions like that kept putting me in position to succeed, right? Like, there's so many other kids that were better than me, smarter than me, faster than me, more athletic than me, charismatic, all these things. And I look back and I'm like, why did it work for me? And maybe why didn't it work for other people? And I, unbiased to studying what have I done to succeed, because I would like to tell other people how. And I'm a product of, you know, just constantly doing the little things right,
Hmm.
that you find out the world is round. They come back to you. It really
Yeah.
does, man.
Now, there's an acronym on your first book, right? Your first book there's an acronym involved, and I'm totally drawing a blank right now because after we first met, of course, I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, well, I want to know more about this gentleman. Like, God, what are you doing? What's the real reason that we connected? Because I had literally just decided to go this path of wanting to share my story and help other people experience some of the same stuff that I just got to experience, right? So I go down the rabbit hole. I'm looking at your website and everything that you do, and I haven't read your book yet. But what's the title of it? The first one,
Yeah, the if in life. The
the
if
if in life.
in life. Yeah, spell out the word life is right there. If is right there in the middle of life.
That's what
Life.
it was. You got the word life
Yeah.
and then the if in life. I knew there was a play on words, and I was just drawing a blank on the title. Did you say you just finished your second book? Or are you working on your second book?
So yeah, so I wrote the first one, The If in Life. Then I wrote a Chronicle 4 series for kids, and now I'm getting back and I'm going to write some more self help books. One is called Conversation, it's spelled uniquely, and another one that I'm excited to write is The If in Wife. The If in Wife. That's gonna be
Ooh,
fun.
burn it up. I love it.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's great. I'm a big acronym metaphor dork. Like I love stuff like that. Stuff that there's cool little added meanings and things that you can, because you can create awesome frameworks of life on those cool little concepts. and to be able to package that stuff and take it directly to kids, or just everything that you can do with that to impact people is extremely exciting. You said you're about to start a podcast. What's the stages of that?
Well, I'm writing a book first for it, so it'll be kind of the prelude into the podcast. But it's called Conversation, and I spell it uniquely: ConverSashun, conversation. So, we're talking about conversely things that what we verify things. What do we say about it, and do we shun it or keep it? And there's a lot of concepts and things that I think that we overlook. Funny, humorous, pop culture things, serious things. The minutia. Like we're getting involved in all kind of things that we need to relearn as well. Like some of these ideologies and some of these concepts of living and the way we do it, we need to rethink them. Like logically, does it make sense to continue to do the things traditionally that lead us nowhere? And some of the traditions we need to keep and speak even louder. So, it's just now I'm at that stage. I'm over 40, and I kind of just am looking back at everything that I've seen, witnessed. I was the last crew of growing up without social media. Um, I was that era. AOL came out do 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 when I was like 14 or something. Facebook came out when I was in college. Like where I'm the last generation to grow up without like cell phones, and we had to play outside the street lights and like so. It's funny to kind of be like the middle child between the era of technology and the like baby boomers, and I'm kind of in that middle trying to help my mom load up things on the internet, but then watching my little nephews do things that are unheard of. So it's gonna be a
Wow.
fun book, fun conversations.
Well, I love the play on words with that. You said we shun it or we don't. Conversation. We either shun it or we don't.
Conversation. I give you an example of like how what kind of depth we get into. So I
Okay.
tell you about this. So like loyalty. We'll take that word for example. Before my wife and I started dating, well, dating's before my wife and I was married. We'll say that we were hanging out at one of my buddies, like little shindig, having a good time talking, and she had her sisters there, cousins. I had friends there, all good, and like eventually, conversation started to come up where um, I don't know. I think somebody had too much wine. They just wanted to argue. And so the argument turned into, I think they were talking about food and restaurants, best restaurants, then eventually got in relationships, and then the word loyalty came up. And so it spread around the room. Are you loyal? Are you loyal? Are you loyal? And I'm like, oh, shoot, here we go. Because I have these ideas that I like hold very deep to my heart. I really wanted to go to school for philosophy, just to prelude that. So when it came to me, they said, Rashad, are you loyal to Destiny? And I looked at her and I'm like, here we go. I said, man, I got to tell the truth. I said, I'm not. I don't think humans can be loyal to humans. And it's a big gasp. Oh my gosh, what? You could imagine. And
Mm-hmm.
so she said, so you're not loyal to me? I said, no, and you don't want me to be. Trust me. And so that spurred up, what the heck is wrong with this guy? And so I said, here, let me explain. I said, Destiny, I said, did you cheat on your ex? She said, no. I said, have you ever cheated on me? She said, no. I said, would you ever cheat on your future husband? She said, no. I said, see, you're not loyal to people. People benefit from your loyalty. You can't be loyal to humans, and nor do I want you to be. I said, hey, look, I've never hit any woman. I wouldn't hit you, and I would never hit my wife. I'm not loyal to y'all. You aren't the reason why I'm not hitting you. It's because you benefit from my loyalty to something else. So people shouldn't consider themselves to be loyal to individuals because now you're predicated your loyalty is predicated on the individual. So if they fall, so does the loyalty.
Yeah, it can
But
set up
if
so
you're
much
loyal
failure.
to Christ,
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter about anybody else. Everybody else just benefits from your loyalty to something else. So I rest my case again. Humans can't be loyal to humans. It's just something you benefit from. And this is the kind of conversations we're getting into in the podcast and the book. Like it's not just sitting around talking about what I ate for dinner. I'm taking you down this mind and how it looks and sees and perceives life.
Bro, I gotta hook you up with my buddy. You are you familiar with Michael Jr., the Christian
No,
comedian?
sir.
You've never heard of Michael Jr.? He was in
Oh,
Self
wait, wait,
Ed.
wait,
He
yeah,
was in War Room. Done TED
yeah,
Talks.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, you
He
Google him. You
actually
know
do some
Michael
good
Jr.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
He's a good buddy of mine. He lives here locally, and a few months ago, he actually brought me on as an opener for him because he does these. Right now, he's doing this cool comedy tour. Well, he does a couple different comedy tours, but
You do comedy?
fun. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's something I've done as a hobby for a really long time. That's why I
Hey,
went to LA in the first place was to do stand up. So I did stand up in LA for quite a long time, and it's something that I just love doing. It's my therapy. I love being on stage, you know. And he's a good buddy of mine, and he's got this tour with his wife called "Funny How Marriage Works," and they basically do these marriage workshops based in comedy in churches around the country. So I got to fly a couple places with him and open up for him recently, but I bombed pretty regularly. So he's like, "Hey man, listen." So
hey,
he's
dude,
my buddy,
listen,
man,
that's amazing.
and
I
that's
love to pick your brain about comedy and stuff, and even because the
cool.
reason why is because you can talk to my wife. I That's what I enjoy comedy a lot. Stand up, I think, is a whole art, and I actually was asked to open up for Tiffany Haddish before. I couldn't do it, but I've always wanted to get into it. But I'm clean, and so it's hard to do it if you're not out there cussing and raking it up. But
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate his art and how he does it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's it was one of my first loves, man. I mean that was my whole purpose in exploring the whole LA Hollywood thing, which burned down in a dramatic amount of flames. So yeah, I love the parallels between what you're doing and what Michael Jr. does with his comedy. I would definitely encourage you go down the rabbit hole of his stuff because he's used comedy to he takes it into recovery homes and for the homeless, and he's got all these cool programs, national things that are designed to use comedy to help people build up their lives through God. I mean, amazing. Him and his wife are amazing people. And I would love to get you two connected to see what the parallels may be, because there's some stuff. You know, I'm pretty involved in the recovery world here in Dallas. I've been addiction and alcoholism is something I've struggled with for a long time. So I'm real involved in that. I'm very anytime like sometimes I'll MC a charity comedy show for a local nonprofit that focuses on sobriety or something like that. I just love being in that world, and Michael's doing a lot locally with men's sober living homes. I got to open for him in a jail a few months ago, which was pretty cool out in Fort Worth, and just some of the things that he does with comedy and he says I like to how does he word it how to go from ha ha to aha, and so it's a mixture of inspirational speaking and comedy, and the dude's a genius, man. Like his comedy is great. So yeah, once you started sharing that about conversation and the parallels and all that, I'll get you guys linked up. I'll do a email introduction with his assistant and see what can be done there.
Love it, man. Love it.
But yeah, I mean, you can try to pick my brain on comedy. I don't know really how far that's gonna go, but
Hey, listen. If you've been on that stage, you know something. Period.
yeah, yeah. I've had some good teachers. It's the thing about it is though, I haven't written material in a really long time. I wrote material for probably 3 years before I ever got on stage. I studied it. I read books. I did classes because I wanted to be a comedian. So I did a lot of pre-work, that preparation work that you were talking about before I ever got on stage. And the material that I was creating back then is, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not necessarily clean. But it works, like I have a 10-minute, 15-minute set that I can pretty much do wherever for little small events, and I don't bomb. I'm not going to fall flat on my face. I mean, there's some YouTube stuff of me. You could watch me do 7 minutes on YouTube. But it's just been so long, and I'm such a
I'll be
different
doing that
person.
tonight.
I'll send you the link. I'll text you the link. And when I did that 7-minute set that I'll send you, it was almost on my 1-year anniversary of getting out of prison. This was probably 2022, about 5 years ago. And I hadn't been on stage in a really long time, and it worked. I just brought back the old stuff, but I'm such a different person now, morally, ethically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, being a dad. So the few times I got on stage opening for Michael, it was almost like I was an imposter because I was in a church. You know what I mean? Trying to do comedy, still struggling with self-worth at the time, and it just didn't come off right at all. So, maybe when things start to line out a little bit differently than they are right now, being a full-time single dad to a toddler, I'm almost 45, man. I'm no spring chicken, and I got a 3.5-year-old by myself. Whew. And
It's a lot.
yeah, it's a lot, man.
God bless you,
It's
man.
true. Yeah. So I'll if you want to know more about that story, I'll send you a link to a podcast that I was on just recently and shared the whole story. And that's really the aim now. God's really got me to a place of just deep understanding, and I would love, like you said, if one person benefits, if one kid benefits, you got your job done, right? I'm shifting over into that mentality now. So that's why I say that just connecting with you at the time that we connected is surreal to me. I'm like, God, okay, well, yeah, I literally just made a commitment. This is the direction that I want to go in my life. I want to help people. I want to help people get plugged in and get connected and experience peace, because I was lost forever. So anyway, I'll send you that stuff, man. No telling where this is going to go. So I wanted to ask you before we go any further on that, where are you at with the home project? I know I did. I tried to connect you to the owner of Woodruff Windows. You guys got connected. You spoke a couple times, I think. Where are we at with that? What do we need to do for you next? What's needed?
Yeah, so for now, just to get on the horn with my contractor, I think I shot out a text to Jordan, and so that way we can get on the time frame of, well, one, just kind of go over all the windows and how many, and the 3D rendering is almost complete, but at least the plans are available right this second, so you can kind of put your eyes on it and everything.
Oh,
So
that's what it was. Okay, yeah, Jordan mentioned that to me. Waiting on the takeoffs from you, so we can do a deeper dive in what's needed and how we can move forward on it. That's exciting, man. Listen, I really thank you a lot for taking the time to do this and talk to me. You dropped some very, very good nuggets of wisdom, great stuff to chew on. What would you like to plug? You want to plug a book, website, podcast, God? I know you're plugging God for sure, absolutely.
yeah,
Anything.
man. Now, right now, I just encourage people to go to my Instagram handle and follow me because I will be doing some really cool stuff up and coming. Look forward to the stuff and be able to do with you guys. And also, I ask people to continue to pray for our nation and continue to pray for the world, that souls are saved. It's inevitable that we must come to a maker at some point, and so I pray for people's souls. And I just want to remind you too that God is not a God or an author of confusion. He sends people and things happen for confirmation, and then especially with the show as far as clarity. And so, he will send you. Sometimes God doesn't yell at you because he's too close. He whispers to let you know you're heading in the right direction. So, the reason why, who knows exactly why we connected, but if you feel it in your heart at all that it was a refresher, praise God, and continue to pray on that, marinate on that, and ask God for the next steps, because he is not shy or from guiding. We're just shy from asking sometimes for direction, but he'll point us.
It's that ego thing, man. Woo-wee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was very refreshing, man. It came at a pretty interesting time, and so I look forward to exploring, just this relationship and where it can go, or how I can, help inspire. I love speaking to young kids too. So who knows, man? Who knows where this is going to go?
Yeah, we might do something. Might do something down in Dallas, man. I come down there. We'll do some stuff together, and we could jump.
Cool.
We could jump on and do this again another time too.
Cool. That sounds good, man. Yeah, I'd love to continue the conversation, and maybe we do like a little mini break-off episode about a deep dive on one of the principles or something like that. Because, this is just getting started. You're episode number 4, man. You're episode number 4. This is all brand new, and I'm really excited to see what God's going to use this platform for. And being able to just join forces with other people that have platforms and magnify the message on a good, positive, productive note. That's what I'm talking about, because there's plenty of terrible messages.
Yes, sir.
All right,
Yes,
my brother,
sir.
man. Thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate you, and we'll link up soon.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate you.
All right, brother. Have a good one. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Clarity Changes Everything. If this conversation helped you in any way, it would mean the world if you would subscribe and then make sure you share it with someone that needs to hear it. And if you're here in the DFW Metroplex and you want to talk windows, all you got to do is text Clarity to 214-225-1922 to schedule your complimentary in-home consultation with me. If you want updates on the podcast, special offers, and more exciting things coming, just want the news, visit claritychangeseverythingpodcast.com and join my email list. Until next time, remember, clarity changes everything.